Okay, thanks for inviting me, Amanda and Gus. My session is about networking, which I know is going to make you all feel slightly sick, because the one thing I've learned with architects is they all hate networking. It makes them feel slightly dirty, but hopefully I can show you that it can help drive your business. Okay, so that's my company, Ing Media. We're the leading communications agency for the built environment. And we work across a range of sectors, and there's no surprise here that you'll see that actually our work has been developed through our network. So we started working with architects, and then obviously we met lots of developers, engineers, other people, and they started to pass us around, and that's how our business grew. So when Amanda and Gus spoke to me about this session today, essentially it's about networking for small businesses, which is what I assume most of you are. And the reason that I felt I could impart some knowledge is because that's where I started. I started as a small business. This is me 20 years ago in just finishing off moving into our first office. I have to say, when you choose an image on your PC, you don't quite realise it's going to be that big and horrendous. But essentially, I had to start from absolute scratch. I'd been in the UK for 4 years. I was from a working class background. I had no networks to talk of. So I had to start from absolute scratch. This is my stepson, Joseph, helping move in. And then this is our office now. So I've got that T-shirt. I know exactly how it works. How do you build a business from absolute scratch? And with absolutely no money. And I think that's really important, that you understand that networking is actually the cheapest way or the most cost-effective way of getting your message across to people. So before you start looking at marketing budgets or huge expenditures or anything like that, just start to look at what you yourself can do for your own business, because that's what you're relying on. Now, Amanda and Gus said to me, don't stand up here and talk about MIPIM, but I'm going to talk about MIPIM, because for me, I started going to MIPIM about 16 years ago, and MIPIM, forget about what you read about it, it's actually just about people. And I want you to take that away today. What you're going to be going away from is, how do you find your networks of people? How do you find as many people as possible that you can talk to, and also you can make yourself relevant? And I think that's one of the key things, and Amanda talked about it earlier, you know, this idea that, and Gus, that you just send someone a message and say, can I have a coffee? Why? Why is anybody remotely interested in talking to you? And I learned that from the beginning. So turning up as a PR person at MIPIM with 25,000 sort of masters of the universe and trying to figure out how I was going to be relevant was a really important lesson. So the other thing about networking is, and people say to me all the time, you know, I'm not good at networking, you know, I'm an architect, I'm really good at that, but I'm not good at tax either, but I've still got to do it. And networking is absolutely part of your business. And even if you don't enjoy doing it, you've just got to suck it up. You've got to get out there for your business, for your employees, make sure you do the best possible job. And sometimes it's enjoyable and sometimes it's not. But I have to say, on the plus side, some of my best friends I've met through business networks. The other thing is there's a lot of chicken dinners. Okay, so I tried to remember how many chicken dinners I've had to sit through over the years. I've got 2 children. One is called first course. And the other is called second course, because that's how my life seems to have been divided up. So be prepared to get out, to talk to people, to sit down, to break bread with them. And it's time consuming, and it is hard work, but it can be very enjoyable. So I think this is a really important statistic from the RIBA, in that only 6% of new homes have ever been touched by an architect. And that's the same with commercial developers. So you just have to drive down any street, even in London or outside of London, and you'll see that vast swathes of our communities have never been touched by an architect. Now, to me, that is a very positive message, because it means opportunity. And one of the reasons I think that is the case is that a lot of people don't know how to use you. They don't even know how to find you. They don't know how much it costs. They don't know the process of going through hiring an architect. And that's your job. You have to make that easier for them. And dare I say it, I think some people are scared of talking to an architect. Sometimes architects can be a little bit patronizing. They're not necessarily open, and they're not user-friendly. And what I want you to learn today is you can still be, hold on to your architectural credentials and be user-friendly with clients. So I was going through, this phrase came up earlier this week when I was going through a client of ours, and they talk about NPS. And it really struck me that in the world of architecture, we never use this term. It's used in consumer language with marketing. And it's about essentially who's going to promote you. And that's what I want you to think about, because I've got some sort of ideas, but you have more ideas than I do. Who are the people in your communities, in your networks, who are going to promote you, who like you, who will tell other people about getting a job? That's what I want you to think about. So local authority, I mean, you've all dealt with local authority and the planning departments. Surely you can't have upset everybody in there. There must be some people who like you, who will talk about you, who'll talk about you to other developers because you're a problem solver. You're going to fix their problem. Design champions in the local area. Who are the people talking about design? Are there specialist groups? Those sorts of people. You need to get out and introduce yourself to them. The local gossips. Who are the people who think they know about architecture? You might have a differing opinion to them, but make sure you get in front of them, talk to them. Contractors, tradespeople, materials suppliers, these are all people who are talking to developers. Their networks, especially in regional areas, are much different to say, in London we've got things like the NLA where you've got very structured networking opportunities. In many other communities that doesn't exist. So you've got to really snuffle them out yourself and find local business networking groups, things like Rotary or the CBI, those sorts of things in your local area. The other thing is create your own opportunities. And I think other sectors do this incredibly well. And in fact, house builders do this. Not all, that's why we have houses that are built by mass house builders that are not well designed. They're good at marketing, they're not good at design. And you've got to learn that other trick. So open house is something you probably know about. And essentially, Victoria Thornton used to always get upset with me about this because I always thought open house is a weekend for curtain twitchers. People want to get inside and see what you've done. So if you've completed a project, why not launch your own open house? Get together with other architects or other people in the area to get people to come through your project or your home. Now, that may be developers or it could be people looking to design and build a house. Workshops, and again, Amanda and Gus and I talked about this sort of at length. Many other sectors do this really well. The financial services sector does this really, really well. How to make money out of buying a house. They often they take a room in a local hotel, they bring along an expert, they invite people along, they advertise it. You can do that sort of thing as well. So there's no issue. You've got to create your own opportunity to meet people. And then finally, this is a great idea. We were talking about this in the office, and I asked some of our team about how they've come across architects. And this is a practice called Solanke Parsons. And what they've done is they've taken a shop front down in South London, and it's near the Tube. And one of my directors was walking to work and kept going past their frontage and really liked them. He said to me, I liked how they looked. They looked like they were really nice people. They were laughing inside, he could see some of their models out the front. And so we went in, and now they're doing some work on his house. So while we have, as George said, use opportunity, while we've have a retail crisis and high streets, there is very, very cheap space that you can take over this space. You can have an exhibition, or you can set it up as your own practice front door. And then finally, I mean, you live in a time that is better than any other, in that you have these amazing tools that are free. So don't forget things like LinkedIn and Twitter and Pinterest and Instagram. This is where people are finding inspiration. And, again, if you say, I don't want to, reveal too much about my life, you don't have to. You have to reveal about your business, though. And LinkedIn, I have to say, is one of the best tools that you can possibly have. So that's it from me. Thank you.